For the past decade, China was supposed to be the next global superpower. Trillions in infrastructure promises, peace deals in the Middle East, but something's changed. Behind the headlines, Beijing is losing grip, and the countries that once welcomed China's checkbook diplomacy, they're walking away. China's global game is falling apart and the world is moving on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to America's Geopolitics for hard-hitting geopolitical analysis. And if you want to support the channel, please check out the links in the description below. Let's start with Belt and Road. China's Belt and Road Initiative was never just about infrastructure. It was a geopolitical blueprint. Build roads, ports, and power plants, offer massive loans, and gain loyalty, resources, and influence. Who wouldn't want that? And for a while it worked. Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, everybody wanted a piece of China's economic miracle. While Washington was distracted, Beijing was pouring concrete. But China's money wasn't free. It wasn't even cheap. The loans came with strings, debt traps disguised as development. Zambia borrowed billions. Now over half its national revenue goes to debt payments. Sri Lanka lost its biggest port to Chinese control. Pakistan is drowning in Chinese loans with failing power plants. Governments are rejecting Beijing's deals. Protests are erupting across Africa. Even Italy pulled out of the Belt and Road agreements. And as China stumbles, others are stepping in. India is offering smaller, smarter infrastructure deals without debt trap diplomacy. The US and Europe are launching the Partnership for Global Infrastructure as an alternative. Even Japan is becoming a serious player again. China wanted to own the global infrastructure game. Instead, it's losing it. And what comes next? It's not looking good for Beijing. In 2023, China brokered a peace deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. The media called it historic, a shift in global power, proof that Beijing was taking over diplomacy while the US faded. But peace, it didn't last. The Houthis in Yemen, backed by Iran, never stopped launching drone attacks into Saudi Arabia. Saudi warplanes are back in action. Tensions between Iran and the Gulf states are rising again, and China, nowhere to be found. Unlike the US, which backs its diplomacy with military and economic power, China doesn't want to get involved. The Middle East sees this. Saudi Arabia is strengthening military ties with the US again. Iran is questioning whether China's neutrality is worth anything. The Gulf states are doubling down on Washington. Beijing just failed its first big test. China's retreat isn't just about failure, it's about others taking its place. India isn't buying influence with debt. It's building real strategic partnerships. Its investments in Africa and Southeast Asia focus on sustainable tech and infrastructure, not billion-dollar vanity projects. Militarily, India is expanding its reach, setting up bases and alliances beyond its backyard. Then there's the US. Say what you want about Trump, but one thing he got right, rebuilding America's industrial base. The CHIPS Act and tariffs on China weren't just trade policy, they were about bringing manufacturing back and cutting dependence on Beijing. Biden backpedaled, but now that Trump has returned, those policies are ramping up again. Saudi Arabia, Vietnam, Brazil, these nations are hedging their bets. They see the cracks in Beijing's strategy. They're looking to the US, India, and Japan as more reliable partners. China wanted to reshape the global order. Instead, the world is reshaping without it. China's rise wasn't a lie. It happened. It changed the world. But it's not the future. The roads Beijing built are cracking. The promises are unraveling, and the influence it bought, it's fading fast. Power doesn't just disappear, it shifts. And right now that shift is moving away from China. China's rise just collapsed and the winners, they're already stepping in. If you made it this far, you get it. The world isn't moving toward a Chinese-led order, it's moving past it. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, who do you think benefits the most from China's collapse? This is Frank with America's Geopolitics. See you next time.